The chandelier in my parents' dining room cast harsh shadows across faces I hadn't seen in 5 years. Mother's perfectly maintained makeup couldn't hide her exhaustion. Father's hands trembled slightly as he adjusted his tie. The same designer tie he'd worn when he fired me from the family business half a decade ago. My older brother Michael and younger sister Amanda sat across from me, both trying their best to look anywhere but at the stack of bankruptcy papers in the center of the mahogany table. "We didn't invite you here for mockery, Alexander," father said, his voice lacking its usual authority. "If you've come just to gloat." "I came because mother called," I interrupted, keeping my voice level. "She said it was important." Mother cleared her throat. "Darling, we're having some temporary financial difficulties." Michael snorted. "Temporary? The bank is taking everything, Mom. Everything." I picked up the bankruptcy papers, scanning the numbers. 5 years ago, when I'd warned them about their reckless expansion plans, these same numbers had gotten me thrown out of the company. Now, Barrett Industries was drowning in debt, and my family's personal assets were going down with it. 20 million in secured debt, I read aloud. Another 30 in unsecured obligations. The London expansion failed. The Singapore merger collapsed. I looked up at my father, exactly like I predicted. "If you're here to say I told you so," Amanda started, but I cut her off. "I'm here because despite everything, you're still my family." I pulled out my phone. "And I can help." That's when Michael started laughing. The others joined in, their derision echoing off the walnut-paneled walls. "What could you possibly do?" Michael managed between chuckles. "Last I heard, you were working as some kind of financial advisor for startup companies. Living in a rented apartment. Driving a used car." I opened my banking app and slid the phone across the table. "Take a look." The laughter died instantly. Mother gasped. Father's hands stopped trembling. Michael's face went pale. This must be a mistake," Amanda whispered. "No mistake." I took my phone back. "That's just my personal account. The corporate holdings are considerably larger." Father leaned forward. "What corporate holdings?" "Summit Ventures." I watched their expressions change as recognition hit. "Yes, that Summit Ventures. The investment firm that's been buying up tech companies across Asia and Europe. The same firm that just acquired Global Tech. The company that fired Michael last month." The silence in the room was deafening. But Summit Ventures is worth billions." Mother stammered. 4.6 billion, as of this morning's market evaluation. I pulled a folder from my briefcase. "Would you like to know how that happened?" None of them spoke, so I continued. 5 years ago, when you fired me for questioning the company's direction, I took my severance package and did exactly what I'd been trained to do: invest wisely. But instead of throwing money at flashy expansions and vanity projects, I looked for solid companies with real potential. I worked with startups, helping them grow sustainably. I learned from their innovations and their mistakes. I opened the folder, spreading out documents across the table. The first year I turned my severance into 10 million. By year 3, Summit Ventures was managing $500 million in assets. Now, I gestured at my phone. "Well, you saw the numbers. Why didn't you tell us?" Mother asked quietly. "Would you have believed me?" I met each of their eyes in turn. "Would you have listened any more than you did when I warned you about the London expansion?" Father's face hardened. "So now you've come to take over Barrett Industries? To show us all how wrong we were?" "No." I pulled out another document. "I've come to save it. But there are going to be conditions." Michael's eyes narrowed. "What conditions?" "First, the entire board resigns. The same board that approved every failed project and ignored every warning sign." I looked at my father. "That includes you." "Never," he snapped. "This company is my life's work. This company is about to be sold off in pieces by the bankruptcy court." I countered. "Your life's work is already gone. I'm offering you a chance to save something from the wreckage." Amanda leaned forward. "What else?" "Second, everyone works for their position. No more nepotism. No more executive titles handed out as birthday presents." I glanced at Michael, who had the grace to look embarrassed. "If you want to be part of the new Barrett Industries, you earn it. And third, you all learn what I learned 5 years ago. How to build something real. how to recognize true value, how to grow without destroying what you're trying to build. Mother touched father's arm. Robert, listen to him, please. 3 months after the family dinner, I stood in my office at Summit Ventures, looking down at the city below. The Barrett Industries building, once the crown jewel of my father's empire, was visible in the distance. Its logo recently restored after nearly being removed during bankruptcy proceedings. A knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. Come in, I called, already knowing who it was. Michael entered, looking different from the arrogant executive he'd been just months ago. His designer suit was gone, replaced by business casual attire. The expensive watch was missing too, sold, along with most of his luxuries, to help pay down personal debts. The quarterly reports you asked for, he said, placing a folder on my desk. I've highlighted the areas where we're still bleeding money. I picked up the folder, noting how thorough his analysis was. You're getting better at this. Had to. He managed a small smile. My new boss is a real hard-ass about details. It had been a shock to everyone when Michael accepted a junior analyst position at Summit. Even more shocking was how seriously he took it. How's Dad handling the transition? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Michael sighed. He's struggling. Watching the new board dismantle his pet projects isn't easy. But after yesterday's presentation, he saw the numbers himself. I finished. Hard to argue with reality. The previous day's board meeting had been brutal. Every failed expansion, every mismanaged project, every vanity investment had been laid bare. Father had sat silently through it all, watching as his vision was systematically dismantled by cold, hard data. Amanda's doing better, Michael offered. The small business development program you started. She's actually good at it. This was true. Our younger sister had discovered a talent for working with struggling companies, helping them restructure and grow sustainably. The irony wasn't lost on any of us. Sir, my assistant's voice came through the intercom. Your mother is here. Send her in. Mother entered, looking more like herself than she had in months. The desperate edge was gone from her eyes, replaced by something closer to understanding. The Charity Foundation audit is complete, she announced, taking a seat. You were right. Half the organizations we were supporting were fronts for tax evasion. And the other half, doing real work, making real differences. She shook her head. All these years, I thought throwing money at causes made me philanthropic. I never actually checked where the money went. I nodded. This was the lesson I'd hoped they'd learn. That real value, whether in business or charity, came from understanding the fundamentals. There's something else, she added, glancing at Michael. Your father wants to see you. Both of you. We found Father in his new office. A modest space, nothing like his former executive suite. He was surrounded by papers, his sleeves rolled up, reading glasses perched on his nose. The Singapore merger, he said, without looking up. I finally see what you were trying to tell me 5 years ago. Alexander. I picked up one of the papers. It was my old analysis, the one that had gotten me fired. Better late than never. We weren't expanding into a new market, he continued. We were gambling with the company's future because I wanted to compete with Winston Gray. He named his old business school rival. Every major failure can be traced back to my ego. Dad. Michael started, but Father held up a hand. No, this needs to be said. He finally looked up at us. I fired my own son for trying to save my company. Then I nearly destroyed that company, proving him right. The silence stretched between us. The new board meets tomorrow, I said finally. They'll be voting on the restructuring plan. I know. He took off his glasses. That's why I asked you here. I want to present an alternative proposal. Michael and I exchanged glances. What kind of proposal? I asked. Father handed us each a folder. Inside was a detailed analysis of Barrett Industries' core businesses, the ones that had been profitable before his expansion spree. We got lost chasing size, he explained. But our strength was always in specialized manufacturing. Small scale, high quality. The things we actually knew how to do well. I read through his proposal. It was solid. A return to fundamentals, focusing on proven markets and existing expertise. More importantly, it showed he'd finally learned to prioritize substance over appearance. The board will want projections, I said. Real numbers, not just vision statements. Already done. He pulled out another folder. Michael helped me with the analysis. Turns out he's quite good when he actually does the work himself. My brother flushed with pride. Real pride, not the artificial kind that came with an unearned executive title. And the existing contracts? I asked. Some of them can't be unwound without penalties. Page 12. Father replied. I've identified which ones are worth keeping, which ones we can renegotiate, and which ones we should terminate even with penalties. The long-term savings outweigh the short-term costs. I closed the folder. Present it tomorrow. If the board approves, Summit will maintain its support through the transition. And if they don't approve, then Barrett Industries gets broken up and sold off. Just like we warned them 3 months ago. I met his eyes. Business isn't about sentiment, Dad. You taught me that, remember? He nodded slowly. I taught you a lot of things. Some right, some wrong. Thank you for teaching me the difference. As Michael and I left his office, my brother asked, will the board approve his plan? They'll approve it because it's good business. I replied, not because of the Barrett name. That's the whole point. Back in my office, I found another visitor waiting. Amanda clutching a laptop and looking excited. You have to see this, she said, opening her computer. Remember that small engineering firm I've been working with? The one everyone said was too small to bother with. She showed me their latest prototype, a revolutionary manufacturing process that could cut production costs by 40%. They need capital to scale up, she continued. But the potential return, do the analysis. I interrupted. Full workup like we taught you. If the numbers support it, Summit will consider investing. Her face lit up. Really? Really? But Amanda? I waited until she looked at me. No shortcuts, no assumptions. Show me why it will work. Like you showed Dad 5 years ago. Exactly like that. After she left, I stood at the window again, watching the city lights come on as evening approached. Somewhere out there, Winston Gray was probably still chasing empires, still measuring success by the size of his office. My phone buzzed. A message from Mother. Charity board approved the restructuring. Real projects only from now on. You were right about starting small and understanding the impact. Another message followed. Having dinner with your father tonight. Oh. First time in months he's not talking about the company. I think he's finally learning to measure success differently. I smiled, remembering something my first business mentor had told me. True wealth isn't in what you own, but in what you understand. My family was finally beginning to understand. The Barrett Industries boardroom looked different now. Gone were the ornate decorations and pretentious oil paintings. The space was functional, professional, focused on business rather than appearance. Just like everything else in the new Barrett Industries. I sat at the back, watching as Father prepared to present his restructuring plan. The new board members, hard-nosed investors and industry veterans, reviewed their materials with scrutiny that would have been unthinkable in the old days. Mr. Barrett, the new chairwoman Sarah Mitchell began. Boo. You have 30 minutes to present your case for maintaining Barrett Industries as a single entity. Please proceed. Father stood, and for a moment I saw a flicker of his old commanding presence. But this was different, humbler, more grounded in reality. Ladies and gentlemen, he began. 5 years ago my son Alexander presented an analysis that I refused to hear. That refusal nearly destroyed this company. Today I'm here to show you how we can save it. Not through grandiose expansions or vanity projects, but by returning to what we do best. Oh. For the next 20 minutes, he laid out his plan with a precision I'd never seen from him before. Every number was backed by data. Every projection was conservative and well-researched. Michael's analysis had been thorough, and Father had clearly learned from it. Our core manufacturing division remains profitable, he explained, pointing to the charts. By divesting the failed expansions and focusing on our established expertise, We can achieve a 24% profit margin within 18 months. Sarah Mitchell leaned forward. And the Singapore assets, sell them, father replied, without hesitation. They were a mistake. My mistake. The liquidation value will cover most of our Asian market debt. The London office. Close it. We're not ready for European expansion. Maybe in 5 years. If we prove we can manage our existing operations properly. I watched the board members exchange glances. This wasn't the Robert Barrett they'd expected. The one who'd chase prestige at any cost. And your role in this restructured company? Another board member asked. Advisory only, father answered. I've demonstrated that I shouldn't have direct operational control. I'm recommending Jennifer Torres from our manufacturing division as CEO. She's been with the company 20 years. Started on the production floor. She understands the business from the ground up.
Oh.
Now that was unexpected. Jennifer had been one of my allies 5 years ago, agreeing with my warnings about reckless expansion. Father had ignored us both then. The questions continued for another hour. Father handled each one with newfound humility and clarity. When he finished, Sarah Mitchell called for a brief recess before the vote. In the hallway, I found Michael and Amanda waiting anxiously. How did he do? Amanda asked. Better than I've ever seen him, I replied. Actually listened to his own analysis instead of his ego. Michael nodded. The numbers don't lie. If they approve the plan. Alexander, father's voice interrupted us. A moment, we stepped into a small conference room. Father looked tired but focused. Whatever happens next, he said, I want you to know something. You were right. Not just about the business, but about what success really means. Dad, let me finish. He held up a hand. 5 years ago, I thought being respected meant being the biggest, the most impressive. I measured myself against people like Winston Gray instead of focusing on what we did well. He pulled out an old photo from his wallet. Himself and my grandfather standing in front of the original Barrett factory. Your grandfather built this company by understanding every machine, every process, every worker's job. I forgot that. Chased prestige instead of excellence. He handed me the photo. You reminded me what real business looks like. The boardroom bell rang, calling us back for the vote. Sarah Mitchell wasted no time. The board has reached a decision regarding Barrett Industries' restructuring proposal. The room held its breath. Proposal approved, with 2 conditions. First, Jennifer Torres must accept the CEO position. Second, Summit Ventures maintains its supporting investment through the transition period. I stood up. Summit agrees, provided the company stays true to this plan. Then we have a deal. Sarah smiled slightly. Congratulations, Mr. Barrett.
Oh.
You've earned a chance to save your company by letting go of it. The next few hours were a blur of paperwork and procedures. By evening, Barrett Industries had a new CEO, a clear direction and a second chance. I found Father in his office, packing up some personal items, moving to a smaller office. I asked. No office, he replied. Jennifer needs me out of the building so she can lead properly. I'll consult from home when needed. He picked up a crystal award from his shelf. Business Leader of the Year from just 2 years ago. Funny, he mused. This seemed so important when I got it. Now it just reminds me of what nearly destroyed us. Keep it, I suggested. As a reminder. Of failure. Of learning. Mother appeared in the doorway. Michael and Amanda behind her. Family dinner, she proposed. At that little Italian place Alexander likes. Father raised an eyebrow. The one without valet parking or white tablecloths. The one with good food and honest prices. I confirmed. Like the business we're going back to. Over pasta that cost 1/10 of our old family dinners. We talked about the future. Amanda shared her latest small business project. A local manufacturing innovation that could partner well with Barrett's core business. Michael discussed his growing understanding of financial analysis, proud of his genuine achievements rather than his former title. By the way, Mother added, I sold my designer handbag collection, used the money to fund a real charity. one that teaches business skills to underprivileged women. Speaking of business skills, Father said Jennifer asked if I would teach a course on manufacturing basics to new employees, starting with safety protocols and quality control. Like grandfather did, I noted. Exactly like that. He smiled. It's time to rebuild Barrett Industries the right way, from the ground up. Looking around the table, I saw something that had been missing from our family for years. Genuine pride, based on real accomplishment rather than artificial status. We'd lost an empire but gained understanding. In the end, that was worth far more. 1 year later, the factory floor hummed with activity, as Father led a group of new employees through the production line. His sleeves were rolled up, safety goggles in place, as he explained the manufacturing process with the kind of detailed knowledge that had skipped a generation before returning. Watch how the precision alignment affects quality, he was saying. No longer the corporate executive but a teacher sharing vital knowledge. This is where Barrett Industries' reputation was built. I smiled, remembering how he'd once considered factory visits beneath his position. Now he spent 3 days a week here, teaching and learning alongside the workers. Jennifer Torres, now celebrating her first year as CEO, joined me in the observation area. Hard to believe this is the same company, she remarked. Or the same Robert Barrett. The numbers backed her observation.
Oh.
Barrett Industries' profit margins had exceeded projections, not through flashy expansions, but through excellence in their core business. The stock price had stabilized, debt had been reduced, and employee satisfaction was at an all-time high. How's the new apprenticeship program going? I asked. Your mother's idea is working beautifully, Jennifer replied, partnering with local schools to train future craftsmen. We have a waiting list now. Mother had surprised everyone by throwing herself into workforce development. Her social connections, once used for charity galas, now helped build partnerships between education and industry.
Oh.
Michael appeared with his tablet, looking pleased. The Q3 numbers just came in. We're up 12% over projections. Because we actually understand our business now, I noted. Speaking of understanding, Jennifer added, Amanda's small business incubator sent over an interesting proposal. They've developed a manufacturing innovation that could improve our efficiency by 15%. My sister had found her calling, helping small enterprises grow sustainably, while creating partnerships with established companies. Her office, once filled with fashion magazines, now overflowed with business plans and prototype designs. Mr. Alexander, Sarah from accounting approached. Your father wanted you to join them. Says it's time for the anniversary presentation. In the main conference room, employees gathered for what had become a monthly tradition. Father stood at the front, that old photo of him and my grandfather now enlarged on the wall behind him. 1 year ago, he began. Barrett Industries remembered what made it successful in the first place, not the size of our offices, or the number of international branches, but the quality of our work and the knowledge of our people. He gestured to the profit-sharing checks being distributed. These represent real success, earned through skill, dedication and understanding. No shortcuts, no artificial growth, just solid business built on solid principles. I watched the faces in the room, proud, engaged, invested in their work. The old Barrett Industries had chased status. The new one had found something better, purpose. Mother squeezed my hand. Your grandfather would have loved this, she whispered. Later that evening, we gathered for our now regular family dinner at the Italian restaurant.
Oh.
The owner, Tony, knew us well by now. No special treatment, just good food and honest conversation. Summit Ventures got an interesting offer today. I mentioned over pasta. Winston Gray wants to sell his company. Says he's tired of chasing market share. Father shook his head.
Oh.
Poor Winston never understood. It's not about being the biggest. It's about being the best at what you actually do. Michael finished. Amanda raised her glass to understanding the difference. As we drove home, I passed the old Barrett Industries building with its restored logo. The lights were still on in the factory section, the night shift maintaining our reputation for quality work. In his final years, my grandfather had worried that the company would lose its way in the pursuit of size over substance. He would have been proud to see it now. My phone buzzed. A message from Jennifer. Board approved the new training center. Your father's going to run it. Says it's time to pass on what he's learned about doing business the right way. I thought about the lessons of the past year, about how losing an empire had helped my family find something more valuable, about how understanding true worth had made us wealthy in ways no stock portfolio could match. At the next red light, I looked at the old photo I kept in my wallet, not of buildings or logos, but of that first day 5 years ago when I'd started over determined to learn business from the ground up. On the back I'd written something that had guided me ever since. Real success isn't in what you own, but in what you understand. The Barrett family finally understood. End of story.